some of us might even think that these are not skills. But you see, they are identified as skills. And what is good about skills is that skills can be developed. Okay, so again, these are just but some of the numerous hard skills that you were taught in school. When presented in juxtaposition like this, you can easily see the differences between hard skills and soft skills. According to Indeed, it's an American employment website, the top 5 attributes common to top performers are, these are top performers in their in industry and our companies. So these are problem solving, effective communication skills, self-direction, drive, adaptability, and flexibility. That's according to Indeed. Now, let us look at this from the point of view of teaching. Although this data, the data that I showed you a while ago, is industry-based, still we can see that companies, big or small, look at soft skills among their applicants. They claim that it's easier to train employees and equip them with hard skills specific to the demands of the job, but it's difficult to ask them to demonstrate essential soft skills. So what do these employers do? They prefer applicants who already have the essential soft skills. Then they just train. Once they're hired, they train them for the hard skills demanded by the work. Okay, so what about in the teaching field? What are the soft skills that the teacher and a student teacher like you should have? So these are the list, short-listed for student teachers. Ayan. So you will be needing leadership. You will be needing effective communication, collaboration or teamwork, multitasking, organization, resilience, time management, patience, reflectiveness, creativity, social competence, and emotional intelligence, and problem solving and adaptability. Let's talk about leadership. Leadership is the ability to inspire a team to achieve a certain goal. In the context of teaching, it pertains to the ability to motivate the students to attain the learning objectives, inspire them to become better versions of themselves, and maintain peace and orderliness inside the class. So, a teacher is definitely a leader. As a teacher leader, this means taking responsibility. These responsibilities have been discussed to you by Dr. Sherry Orozco. I was sitting in front of her, so I know that she discussed this already. So in addition, you are to take responsibility of the learning and welfare of the students under your care. Do not relinquish your responsibility of teaching the students to their parents. Well, it's true that the parents are our partners in the child development, and they should be there. There are partners. However, it is important that your mindset this early, while you're still students, you already have the mindset that students' learning is your turf, is your main responsibility. Okay? So if they don't know how to read, for example, then own it as your responsibility. Don't point finger. Okay? Anyway, so much for that. Another important aspect of leadership is foresight. Now, foresight is the ability to predict or the action of predicting what will happen or be needed in the future. This soft skill is crucial in preparing teaching learning activities. You prepare for possible difficulties that the students might encounter. So you provide activities or drills in anticipation. Example, if you're going to teach literature, of course, it's expected that you have read it beforehand. Then you can already take note of the difficult terms present in the reading text, and then present them to the students, so that the taking care of the difficult words before you ask them to read would help them understand the reading text better. Okay, in lesson planning, they call it unlocking of difficulties. So if you do that, it's actually a foresight, of you. Another instance is when you get ready with mechanisms to address possible risks and threats inside the classroom. So that's foresight. May basa sa sahig. So what do? Pinunasan mo, or you ask a student to wipe it so that the floor would be dry. So that way, we avoid untoward incidents inside the classroom. That's foresight. Another is effective communication. So competencies in communication are taught in school as hard skills, diba? This involves competencies in phonetics, phonemics, syntax, etc. These are important hard skills, of course. But equally important are the soft skills in effective communication. So what are these? Well, you have two main aspects. You have the speaking and the listening. Now, in speaking, this is translated to the WH of speaking, or first, your ability to know what to say. And we're not talking about the content, okay? The intellectual content. We're not talking about that. We're talking about the discernment of knowing what to say and what not to say. There are things that should be said no matter the discomfort it may bring, but it takes soft skill to discern the things that should be kept unsaid, no matter what the discomfort may bring. Another is whom to say it. This means the message has to be delivered to the right ears. You know what I mean? We know that the more channels there are, the more vulnerable the message is to distortion. Okay? Just a slight change in the tone, in the inflection, can totally alter the original intent of the message. Another is, so importante, whom to say. Sino ba ang dapat ang sasabihan mo? No? You might be barking up the wrong tree. Okay? Another is when and where to say it. Ayan, importante. in. This is about the right timing of the delivery of the message and the right place where it should be delivered. So a lot of miscommunication occur just because the message or the feedback was delivered at the wrong place and at the wrong time. Okay, so ang tawag nila, wrong timing ka ngayon. For instance, you want to correct a misbehavior in the class, then you can do it in a place and time when the students will not be embarrassed. Okay? And the last is how to say it. It refers to the manner of delivering the message. Communication becomes effective oftentimes as a result of the right manner of saying it. Sometimes what you have to say is hurtful, but if you say it in the right manner, sometimes, most of the time, it becomes effective. Okay, now let's talk about listening aspect of communication. I wrote here, we will not talk about the technical aspect of listening. Sabi nga natin, we're talking about the soft skills. So, how is it translated to soft skill? It's when you listen with your heart. Yan. So, to listen with your heart means to listen with empathy. You truly understand where the other person is coming from when you do this. This soft skill begets trust from the students. And the more they trust you, the lesser is the resistance to you and to your teaching. So they begin to look forward to your sessions with them. Another is listening to what others are not saying. Ano ba yan, ma'am? Listening to what others are not saying. This soft skill requires experience and maturity from the listener. Well, maturity naman, when we say maturity, does not really follow that the older a person gets, the more mature. No, there are people who are still young, but they are already matured in their views, in their perspectives. Yeah, so it takes maturity from the listener. It is crucial that the assumptions that you make are right. When you listen to what others are not saying, you will be required to make assumptions. Of course, may mga assumptions ka gagawin. So it takes skill to make the right assumptions. Okay? Then let's talk about collaboration. This is another soft skill needed by student teachers like you. So what does it mean? It means to be open to the reality that every person is unique. Okay? So when you put 50 unique people together, you have a kaleidoscope of unique personalities. Sometimes the differences create division. So what happens when people in that circle fail to embrace one another's uniqueness? There's chaos. So what do? You embrace each other's strengths and weaknesses. Okay? It's not all the time that you share the same ideas, the same abilities, and the same passion, the same beliefs. So what do? You apply the philosophy of complementation. Yan. Ano naman yung complementation? So when you complement each other's strengths and weaknesses, you become whole. Meaning, when you compliment is, you look at the other person and you try to identify their strengths and see if their strengths really are your weaknesses. So what do? You compliment. For example, you could be seeing their weaknesses, and you believe that their weaknesses actually are your strengths. Then you work with each other. Work with people whose strengths are your weaknesses, and vice versa. Of course, it should be two-way. Hindi naman pwedeng ikaw lang. Give and take yan. So work as one. Achieve as one. Then you will achieve more. Because the things that you could not do alone, you can now accomplish in collaboration with someone whose personality may even be totally different from yours. Okay, and I tell you, it works when you collaborate. This is actually what we're doing right now. Now, we may not be able to technically give you lecture about collaboration in details. Maybe what we can do is show you. And that is what we're doing right now. We're collaborating together. Si Ma'am Mars, si Ma'am Sherry, si Teacher Apple, si Teacher Annabelle, the teachers of from community colleges, kayo, di ba? We collaborate. Bicol University College of Education, collaborating with all the community colleges in Albay and even beyond. I was told a while ago, we have participants even coming from, you see? So we collaborate, no? Hindi pwede yung kami-kami lang, ako lang, yun. Hindi na yun uso ngayon. Okay, next is multitasking. Okay? It is the ability to do more than one task at the same time. Jacob Konin calls it with-itness. I'm not sure if you have encountered this term, with-itness. Palagi ka, other educators would claim that a teacher should have another set of eyes at the back of their head. So they should be able to see what the students are doing, even if they are if their back is turned away from the student. So actually, most of the time you will find yourself multitasking, conducting differentiated learning activities while tending to the diverse learning style of the students. These are examples of multitasking. Now, sometimes we just differ in how we do multitasking. Okay, I remember when I was working with the Dean, Dr. Lorna Minya, I was so amazed by how she does her multitasking. Sabi ko, nakakainggit ka naman kasi you can do several tasks at the same time. Ang gagaling. Ikaw din, sabi niya, gumagawa ka rin yan. Iba lang yung aspect ng multitasking. Oo nga naman. So, yun nga, diverse styles, teaching styles, learning styles. But nonetheless, ito talagang multitasking. You will need this in your practice teaching. Magmumultitask ka. No? You could be checking the test paper while tending to the needs of the students, yung mga ganyan, mag-multitask ka talaga. Anyway, so you will need this. And it's a skill. It's a skill. Another is an organization. It is the ability of keeping things orderly. Yan, you are an organized person. This soft skill is crucial in record keeping. Yan. It saves time in locating things and files that we need. Yan, pag may sometimes others could not find your files. Ikaw, di ba, kung minsan you have your way of organizing things, others may look at your files as topsy-turvy, but ikaw alam mo. So, it's a skill. Ano? Na you have that ability of knowing or locating where your files are, where you put your things, your way of keeping things orderly, no? Files, yung mga mga records, yan. Kailangan mo din yan as a student teacher. Another is resilience. Resilience is the capacity to recover quickly from difficulties or toughness. In your journey as a student teacher, you will certainly encounter difficult situations. Sometimes you will encounter difficult people. Totoo yan. Huh? So having this soft skill will help you bounce back and not wallow in your misery and self-pity. Yan. Kung minsan, pumupunta sa amin, magsusumbong, umiiyak. Yan. What I usually tell yung student teacher na ganyan, sige, punasan na, narinig na kita, punasan na ang luha, sige na, balik na. Yan. Yung mga ganyan, no? Lilipas din yan. That's part of growing up, so to speak. Now, siguro if you look at all experiences, may it be positive, may it be negative, you look at each one of them as a learning experience, then hindi ka masyadong madidepress. Okay? You will not wallow, sabi ko nga, no, in self-pity. So you just learn from these things, no? Kahit pa negative yan. That's resilience. Bounce back. Balik ka kaagad. Balik ka ulit. Masaya ka ulit. Okay? And you will be needing that. Okay? Next is time management. Time management refers to making the best of your time. In your journey as a student teacher, you might be, it's very possible, that you might be overwhelmed by the bulk of tasks that will be given to you. So time management will help you be in control of the papers to be submitted, the lessons to be prepared. Okay, so kailangan time management. Prioritizing your academic activities and minimizing your social activities will do the tricks. I will not delve so much on this because I heard Ma'am Sherry Orozco talk about this morning. So yan, kailangan mo siya, time management. And next is patience. Ayan, so patience is the capacity to accept or tolerate delays, troubles, or sufferings without getting angry or upset. So you always keep your cool. That's a mark of patience. This soft skill is probably the reason why teachers are called heroes. To me, patience is a superpower. Now, pag pasensyoso kang teacher, ay nako, you have superpower. I think we can harness this power if we truly embrace the principles of learner-centered teaching. Okay, kung talagang naniniwala tayo dyan, we really follow the principles of learner-centered teaching, then we will believe that every student is unique and each has his own learning style and they work at their own pace. Diba? Kasi ano siya unique siya. Learner-centered tayo, hindi teacher-centered. So sometimes our source of disappointment, kaya we lose patience, is that we sometimes tend to impose our own standard. That is why we invented yung mga terms na fast learner, slow learner, di ba may mga ganun tayo. But in actuality, there is no single learner na masasabi mong talagang fast learner siya. She could be or he could be fast learner in some aspects, but slow din siya in other aspects. You get what I mean? Because nobody has the monopoly of knowledge nor skills, no? Therefore, if we look at it that way, na each has its own pace, then probably we could be more patient with our students. Okay, let's talk about reflectiveness. Okay. According to experts, may mga nagsasabi baga na sabi nila, experience is the best teacher. Okay, so sabi naman ng ating mga philosophers, no. Experience is not really the best teacher. It's the reflection over what you have experienced that gives you the best lesson. So it's the reflection that's the best teacher, ano? So you reflect whatever it is that transpired in a day, you reflect on it. Sometimes ginagawa natin yan, before we sleep, niisip natin, what happened? What did I do right today? And then, what did I do wrong? How can I improve myself? How could I be better next time? Okay? So, ganon. So, you reflect on whatever experience you have in your practice teaching. Another is, when you reflect, even when you commit mistakes, you learn from your mistakes. Diba? So you tend not to repeat the mistake kasi you learn from it. Another is, when you reflect, you can learn from others' mistakes. Ayan, di ba? Hindi sa nakikialam ka.